What I'd like to show you today is the process of laminating, which I used to say is the single most function-enhancing thing you can do to a checkbox. I don't know if that's true, especially nowadays, now that I have additional kind of features like extension shells and that kind of stuff, but it is really a nice thing to have on a checkbox because it makes it a lot easier to keep clean, provides some extra measure of water protection as water tends to fall down here, collect on the surface, run off the sides, thus protecting the top of the box. Now, the process of laminating is really pretty simple, although most of us are perhaps a little afraid of it because we've never done it. And I think you're going to be really surprised how easy it is to do if you don't already know how to do it. Laminate comes in all sorts of colors and patterns, and you know, the problem is you have to buy if you were to buy a full sheet, it's pretty expensive to buy one sheet, probably somewhere between $50 and $100, depending on where you get it. What I recommend to people who are particularly building their own checkboxes, is go to your local cabinet shop and ask them what they have in the way of laminate scraps. And you might find they'll sell you enough to do a whole checkbox for $5 just to get rid of it. Or maybe $10, maybe $20, I don't know. But the stuff itself, if you buy it new, can cost somewhere between $2.50 and $3 a square foot, which is quite a bit. Now these pieces that I have here are already cut to size. I'm going to be doing the top of this grubby one, and I'm going to be doing a couple of shelves here as well. This is kind of the newest version of shelf extension I have worked out for the grubby one. The only trick to cutting things to size is one thing you do want to do is you want to make sure you cut a little bit of extra. I shoot for 1/4 of an inch all the way around. What I do is I cut it oversize and then use the router, and I'll show you how to do that, to flush cut the laminate to the top. You don't actually have to do it that way. You could cut it exactly the right size, and then very carefully attach it, and that way you wouldn't have to route it. Okay, let me show you how to do that. So here's something I like doing with each piece that I'm going to be laminating. I'll take the scraper and just kind of scrape off. This is just a hand scraper. You could use this or a putty knife, whatever. You just kind of scrape off any excess finish that might have worked its way over this side, even though we didn't actually finish this side. And you're doing that so you don't clog your sandpaper up. But then once you got that done, then I'm just going to sand it off and rough up this thing a little bit. This is a real coarse sandpaper, and I don't care if it scratches it up. That's actually alright, because we're going to be putting contact cement on this surface and this surface, and then we're going to put the two together. But that looks pretty good to me. What we did then is we just made this wood bare wood. There's no finish protecting the pores and stuff, so the contact cement can get down into the wood.
Press my jumpers and starch my overalls. I'll ride the train to one they call a cannonball, Baltimore to Washington. And I feel like crying 'cause she's gone, boys. I feel like dying 'cause solid gone. My baby, she left me, she even took my shoes. All she left me was these low down breed blues, and she's gone, solid gone. And I feel like crying 'cause she's gone, boys. I feel like dying 'cause she's gone, solid gone. I'm standing on this platform, I'm waiting for the train. On this platform in the cold midnight rain, and she's gone, solid gone. And I feel like crying 'cause she's gone, boys. Feel like dying 'cause she's gone, solid gone. Press my jumpers and starch my overalls. I'll ride the train, the one they call the Cannonball, Baltimore to Washington. And I feel like crying 'cause she's gone, boys. Feel like dying 'cause she's gone, solid gone. I'm going out west, I'm leaving in the fall. You don't treat me right, I might not come back at all. And I'll be gone, solid gone. And I feel like crying 'cause she's gone, boys. I feel like dying 'cause she's gone, solid gone.
Completely dry to the touch, and this one is definitely completely dry. I mean, you can still sort of feel it, but it's not tacky. Same is true here, with the exception of that little spot right there. I can tell it's still a little bit tacky, so we're going to let it set just a little bit longer before I try to get these together. In the interim, I'm going to clamp something up there so I can slide this laminate right up against it. That looks like that'll work real good. See, you can actually cut these things to exactly the right size if you want to, so that you don't need a router to trim them. However, you have to do things like this in order to make sure that you get it exactly in the right spot. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now I want to make sure I get my straightest edge. That's not it. That's it. And we're going to put it up against that. What I want to do first, and this is kind of, well, I guess I would call it my trick to putting laminate together, is what we're going to do is we're going to take and put a little piece. You can use cardboard, poster board. Because I do a lot of laminate, I have a lot of extra laminate around. Notice there's no contact seam on this, of course. If I had something with contact seam in it and I put it on there like that, that's exactly the way it would be stuck, so you don't want to do that. The only place you can really go wrong here is if these two surfaces come together before you're ready for them to come together. So here's what I'm going to do. Take this, put it all the way up against there. I'm going to make sure I'm overlapping about the same left and right. I'm watching that. You can't see it, but I can see it. And I just want to check to to make sure that it's going to overlap everywhere. And it looks to me like it is. And when I'm confident that it's going to overlap everywhere, I slide this out, and then we start working from the center out. And just applying pressure. Amazing how that contact seam works. Don't need this anymore. This edge is basically already done for us. As you can see, I have a little bit of extra up here, and over here. And so we'll just take our little router and route around that, flush cut that, and that will be ready. You see, there wasn't really much of a problem there. I got a little goop here on this, which you can clean up with paint thinner, so that's not a problem. Okay. Ready? That's good. I'll do a quick inspection to make sure no flies or anything's landed on it, because we don't want any bumps in it. And here we go again. Now, this one will be a little dark. I'll do this one this way. I'll do it toward you. It's not quite enough, so I'm going to take my other one. Use two. So I'm using both of these. You see what I do here, I put about maybe 2 inches down here where the contact cement is exposed. And very carefully, and let me mention that that's really an important thing to say, I'm going to pull this over it and use my fingers to sort of position it in place. What I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to feel here, and I want that to be about the same all the way along it. Additionally, I want about as much on the left as there is on the right. Now, just to check to make sure it's right, I'm going to look right here, and this piece should overlap what we're trying to contact. Same over here. We should overlap that way, and then we should also overlap that direction, which we do in every case. So you can see what I've done is I've managed to position the laminate over this piece. All I have to do is push this down, and now it's going to hold. That's going to hold it in place for us. We come up here and slide the two pieces out, which is obviously really easy to do. It is actually easy to do. Now, I'm going to hold this up and just kind of push it that direction. Push it to the center, back, and then we work it from the center out. Kind of a star pattern outward. I'm pushing pretty hard. Really want to get the corners down. Corners is where we have the biggest problem with this, and I'm going to show you how to avoid some problems there when we routed and file it. You've got to be careful of the edge, it's sharp. We're going to take care of that when we're done routing. So there we are. It's stuck. And again, if we were to look real close, we have excess on this side. We have a little bit of excess on this side, not much. You don't need much. A little here, and a little here. I just take a bastard mill file. Now, some people, by the way, use a laminate bit, which has a 15-degree angle on it. And if you did that, you may not have to actually file it, I don't know. But this edge is very sharp, so we want to take and do two things to it. First, we're just going to cut that sharp edge off. I'm just kind of putting about a 45-degree angle on it. And secondly, very carefully, this is where you got to be really careful with laminate. Let me do this. Is corners. If you have problems, it'll be because the laminate is sticking out and you catch your shirt on it, pull it up, and it'll break off right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we recess the laminate. Now, I'm not going to file up. If I file up this way, then I run the risk of busting it off. So I'm going to file this way around it, just in kind of short little strokes. And I'm putting a pretty harsh angle on it, trying to get it so that it actually is back behind the wood. Nothing can catch on that corner. That's the key right there. You want to recess it so that nothing can catch it. And again, you notice I file across, not up. One last thing we want to do here. We're going to take just standard old run-of-the-mill paint thinner. Let me adjust here. And just a small rag. By the way, if you get any of this stuff, any of that contact cement on your hands, this will take it off. Paint thinner. But I can see I have some contact cement right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I do. So what I'm going to do is just take and wipe it off. And really you can feel it more than you see it. So I'll just go ahead and do the whole thing. And that feels real good. So guess what? There you are. That piece is a done deal. here is a finished, stained, finished with natural stain, laminated with oak laminate, and the brand new extension leaves. Grubby One chuck box. Pretty cool.